Welcome, my friends, to another live episode of the Modern Lending Podcast. I'm your host, Alec Hansen, and you know that because you're sitting at my social channel. I don't know why I introduced myself. Today, I'm bringing on Sean Uyehara. Sean is, I fanboy over Sean all the time because I am watching what he's doing in his market. He's a sales manager for us in Vegas, and I'm always impressed. This guy is the definition of local marketing. And if you've been following the series since we started, we went from branding to digital marketing, and now we're going to land in local marketing. This is what I call the quick and buster. This is the one advantage local pros have over all the internet lenders out there, is the fact that you're local and you can make a huge impact. And so let's look into the behind the scenes and all the secrets and tactics that Sean's using to blow it up in his market. Buckle up.
With the real world.
Here we go. Get that live, man. Get it going up there, Sean.
I gotta put you on there, man.
Oh, dude. Okay. So for everybody that's just tuning in, thank you guys. Drop a comment, say hi, let us know where you're hanging out with us from. If you're watching this in the future, as always, hashtag bypassed. I always get a little joy knowing you stopped for 2 seconds to hang out. But Sean, this is going to be a fun conversation. So for everybody that's tuning in, if you didn't watch the intro, local marketing to me is this untapped advantage that local professionals have over anybody else, because as we're going to get into with Sean, you have the ability to get to the customers first in your community, to build that reputation, to build that trust, and to explode your business, even amidst the amazing digital marketing that's going on around everybody all the time. So what's up, Justin? Coast Amazing. It's right. So, okay, Sean, I want to go back to start, and I know you're going to share some of your secrets and all that fun stuff, but I want to go back to one of my first experiences with you really tapping into this concept of local marketing. And so this is when I watched you release a video in the beginning of COVID, not about rent mortgage rates, not about what's going on with the industry, not about how great you are as a loan professional and how many loan programs you understand, but you released a video documenting what was the streets and what was happening in like the Strip in Vegas.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, first of all?
I think something, I don't know, I just thought about an idea because a lot of people were posting stuff online about the Strip is completely dark. And I thought it was cool in a sense of like, hey, you've never seen this. I mean, the 14 years, like you never see no one on the street. I mean, it was kind of eerie at the same time, but I thought, hey, let's go out and just kind of mess around and just see what we can come up with. And it ended up turning out into a video where, you know, I just kind of thought about the whole Vegas stronger thing because of what happened in the past, you know, in our city. So I was like, look, we've gone through, you know, some hard times. And I think this is obviously something no one's going to forget. So let's, you know, kind of give people some inspiration and just remember that, you know, this will pass and, you know, we'll come back stronger just like we do every other time.
So if you had to guess, where are you at in views in that video? So
I probably had at least 150,000 views, if not more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched that happen. And then I watched you really, I mean, so local marketing, as I said before, is a way for people to build community, a way for people to build trust, connection. One of the things that you do that's incredible is you document a lot of the stuff you do, which is how people see it as well. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you're actually in the community, supporting the community. So I want you to share, you know, first we'll do kind of like immediate COVID, and then like, you know, even though we're still in COVID, whatever that means, but just kind of later in COVID, but like immediately in COVID from a local marketing perspective, what did you do? What were some of the things you did?
I mean, as soon as it hit, the one thing that we really went to was doing more community videos. So we tried to, we honestly took probably a 2-month kind of hiatus trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Just because a lot of our focus at the time was restaurants, local businesses, anything local to Vegas, we wanted to promote. And that was kind of our bread and butter.
And I remember you were promoted a business and you did a lunch giveaway.
Yeah. So during COVID, one of my buddies, he owns a chicken restaurant on here and his food's amazing. So I was like, hey, you know, and everyone keeps talking about how businesses were struggling, and obviously due to COVID, right? I mean, it's kind of obvious. So I was like, look, why don't I just buy a bunch of food, from you, support your restaurant. And then, there was a lot of people that didn't have access to food that I felt, hey, if we could buy, 50 meals, 100 meals, that'll mean something to somebody. And it's not only supporting the community, but we're supporting, local businesses. So we did that. And we gave away a bunch of meals.
So,
My friend was super happy about it. And obviously there's a lot of people that came through that, a lot of families, with kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that was, it was just a feel good thing just to try to help people out.
So then you did more of that. You did more restaurant highlighting, didn't you?
Yeah. And then that actually led to a bunch of, I think, 5 other restaurants. We all got together and everyone donated meals. And then we actually went to St. Rose Hospital and donated all those meals to all the nurses and, the frontline staff that were there. So again, it was just showing the community, hey, we're here to help you guys, and we care at the end of the day.
So I love this because number one, you're in service to others, which I always am impressed with, and I view that as contemporary marketing, as being in service to others. And so you went out and you bought food, you gave it away, sometimes to people that were struggling, sometimes people that just were there and they're like, oh, cool restaurant, new restaurant, this is great. You did this donation thing, 100 meals. So, but I hate this, but I'm going to ask it. Like, what's the ROI on this? Like, what's the ROI on serving people? It's a kind of a gross question, but like, you're out there to do good, but at the same time, like, I'm sure everybody knew you were a mortgage pro.
Yeah. I think the thing with that, it actually led to us meeting a realtor. So I didn't know that she owned one of these restaurants, and through all this donation and, her actually seeing a lot of our videos, that kind of led to us talking, and now we're doing business together. And, luckily she actually loves video and social media too. So it kind of works with how we operate our business and kind of with where she's going and her goals too. So, inadvertently, it ended up turning into, a great opportunity for us.
Dude, and I don't want to say inadvertently, or I don't want to cheese this out. I want everyone to kind of hear this because you're such a living example of this, Sean, which I love, which you can be a mortgage professional and want to do loans for people. And you can be in service and helping restaurants and promoting things and being kind of a community connector. And those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like, it's not bad that you do loans. It's not bad that you would want them to maybe use you for a loan. In fact, I think you said that every restaurant you highlighted, you got a deal from somehow through connections.
Yeah. So every, before COVID, when we would actually go out and shoot these videos, we actually got deals off of every single place that we've done videos for. And again, the intent wasn't for the loan, right? It was just more for us to, because my daughter doesn't live here. So it's hard for me to be engaged with like a local, sports team or anything else. It's just me. So I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to really show people that we're involved with the community in one way, shape, or another. So for me, the easiest thing was, people love food. People love checking out new restaurants, and we can highlight that stuff.
Yes.
We'll be able to pick up, views just off of interests of food. And then, over time, they start to figure out, okay, maybe this guy, does loans and maybe he can help us buy a house kind of thing. So,
well, dude, this cannot be understated enough. Like, being in service to others is a form of marketing. Not in the sense, because we're so pitched, like marketing has a negative connotation, right? Like, oh, I'm being marketed to, I'm being sold something. And I'm saying, no, flip the script a little bit. Sean, you're the perfect example of this. You're out there, of course your intent isn't to try to get a loan off the business owner. Like, he would know that, and he would not let you come into it would be weird.
Yeah.
Of course your intent was authentic. Of course you were there to just help that person, showcase their business, make a connection. But that's what leads to business, real business, like relationship style business, where they're like, dude, I like this guy.
Yeah.
And so I want to just highlight to people that are listening.
I was just willing to pay whatever it was.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to finagle and be like, hey, I'm going to buy 200 meals. What can you give me a deal on? Oh. It was like, look, what do you want? I want to give away 150 meals. You give me your whatever price you need to take care of your guys. I'm going to pay it. And, and during COVID, right? I mean, luckily we were doing really good. Business was obviously great. So I didn't necessarily care about spending the money because, luckily we were doing fantastic. And, for me, it was, look, if I can help somebody else and make their day that day, then, I mean, it's worth it.
But see, this is local marketing at its heart. This is local marketing at its core. This is how you build human connection. And this is where you beat the major marketing players that are digitally retargeting people and hitting them up with ads. Like, this is how you beat them out, is exactly the stuff, Sean, that you're doing. And so, okay, let's kind of, I want to talk YouTube for a minute. I want to talk some of the other stuff you're doing with community highlights. I really want to get into it because it's fascinating. So one of the other shifts you made, and remind me when you started this, because I don't know, but when did you start going out and showcasing communities?
I think we really got into that around maybe July, August of last year or so.
And what made you do this, or what was the moment that you were like, I need to go do this?
I was just searching for other ways to try to get business, you know, and honestly, that's what I spent a lot of time doing, just figuring out what can we try, you know, and because we're doing the Facebook, we're doing the Instagram. I mean, if some of you guys that are watching this, you know, you probably listen to our podcast, right? And I haven't really put time into that lately, but it was just during COVID, it was kind of like, let's just try everything and see what could potentially work for us. And then I stumbled across YouTube and I said, you know what, let's give this a try. So we kind of puttered along for, you know, 3-4 months trying to figure it out. And then now, honestly, that's our number one focus. We don't focus really much on anything else other than YouTube at this point.
So what's your equation? You find a community, you show up with a camera, like what are you doing? Like, so this guy walking around filming what is happening?
Yeah, so you know, we're doing some research on our side, trying to figure out, you know, some keywords. What are people searching? What's trending topics? And honestly, a lot of it too, I keep a notepad right by my desk. So as I'm talking to clients, I'm talking to leads every day. You know, what are some of the questions that I'm getting? What are some of the pushbacks that I'm getting? And just think about, you know, how can we showcase that? And you know, whether it's a brand new community that we show, whether it's, you know, the pros and cons of a certain neighborhood or the cost of living, we just try to do as much research as we can. And then, you know, we try to shoot about 8 videos a month and we have a scheduled release. So, you know, we drop 2 videos every single week. And
so you actually have a plan? You have a plan for this with a schedule?
Yeah.
Kidding, Sean. Yeah. Of course you should. Like it's marketing and prospecting. Of course you should have a plan.
Yeah. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we try to make sure we got videos ready to drop. And, you know, sometimes we miss it, but for the most part, we're shooting for twice a week, you know, and now when we first started this, you know, our videos were like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes was like a stretch. But now when we shoot, you know, I push, you know, to try to get at least 20 to 25 minutes every single video that we do.
So give me an example. I saw you did one for like a new construction, like a builder. I mean, do you ask for permission? Do you call them up and say, hey, can I film you? What's your process?
Depends on the builder. Sometimes they actually want like corporate approval and all that. So we try to stay away from those guys just because, you know, sure, these titles, we want to get in and get out. So a lot of them, they're showing by appointment only, you know, so you can easily book an appointment online and we just go in, no one's there. We shoot what we need to do and we get out.
Dude, that's epic. So let's talk results a little bit. Like, what are you experiencing after doing this? You know, you've been doing a bunch now. What's going on?
So, you know, 8 months into YouTube, we went from like no subscribers to, I think now we're at 1,200. Last month we had about almost 500-600 subscribers and a little over 30,000 views. So at this point, you know, we're able to monetize our channel, which it was kind of cool for me to be at that point. Like, hey, you know, we can get paid for some of this stuff. Not that it's going to be, you know, money that's going to replace what we're doing, but it's kind of cool. You know, it's a milestone if that's your goal. You know, on YouTube, you kind of want to get to that point. But every day, you know, every single day, I'm waking up to comments, questions off of YouTube. I mean, guys are literally watching videos, then going to LinkedIn and messaging us, Instagram, Facebook. So they're, you know, going from one channel to the next. And I mean, I've had guys that literally are like, I've watched every single one of your videos.
Yep.
Or they point out a specific thing that I said or location on a video that I'm just like, dude, I don't even know what video that was. So it's pretty cool.
No, it's not pretty cool. It's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life, because YouTube as a search engine, we all know, is gigantic. You're highlighting these local communities. Are you interviewing people?
We haven't done any interviews yet, but we have included some realtors in these videos just because I feel like it's a pretty cool perspective, because I'm giving my opinion, and coming from a mortgage guy, it means one thing, but sometimes in these videos we're talking about the market, so I include a real estate agent because I'm going to give my opinion, and then I say, hey, what is your take on this? Why is this important to you as a realtor? Just so you can give two different perspectives, for the end viewer.
Yep. So, I mean, what kind of leads are we talking about? I mean, what are you experiencing? What's going on here?
We're getting probably almost a lead a day, but it's a completely different conversation that we have with these guys, because when they reach out, they're literally spilling their guts. Like, hey, I'm moving in a year. I work at this company. Here's my salary. I'm going to sell my house. I expect to net this. I mean, they literally lay it out, and they just want me to kind of walk them through the process. We've had cash buyers, they're paying $800 to $1 million that they literally are asking me like, hey, can you show me this house? I'm like, well, I can have one of our agents reach out to you and kind of walk you through the process. So it doesn't surprise me. Every day when I get a lead, I literally send a screenshot to Leo, and I'm like, dude, here's another one, and it's just something we just kind of laugh about, because I mean, it's a total different ballgame with the conversations you have.
I'm just shaking my head on the inside, because I'm imagining there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of communities around the country.
Yeah,
that loan officers live in. That they live there, and literally all you're saying is you took the time to go to those spaces to highlight, and there's micro communities inside communities.
Yep.
And you take the time to go there. You film a video about it. You do some research, so that you can talk about the space, the demographics, all the stuff that you share, and then you post it on the second largest search engine in the world, and you mirror that with consistency, and holy crap, fast forward, and you're getting customers that are fully baked, they're emotionally connected to you. Like you said, they're giving you all their information. They're like, yeah, let's go. And you're referring them to agents.
And zero money spent. I spend zero money on this. At all. Not a dollar that we've spent on YouTube. All organic.
I just want to end this whole show and replay it and just be like, hey, just go back and watch this again, because but this sounds so self-evident. But there was some trials and learnings that it wasn't like you did this for doing this for 12 years and you figured it out. You kind of had to continue to challenge yourself and find the right place to play. And you said in the beginning your videos were 2 minutes and they got up to 25. What have you noticed changed from the beginning videos to the later ones?
The biggest thing that we started to figure out was, when we initially started, I was just stating facts. Like this community, the median sales price is this. There's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just all these numbers, and kind of ended the video. But then, Leo kind of pushed me he's like, you got to start talking more about your experience, your opinion. So once we started doing that, the videos would go from 2 to like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then we start to get more into storytelling. Now I'm thinking about, hey, I remember a transaction and here's what happened, and kind of walking them through that. Or just literally at this point, it's finding a story. So every single point that we try to make, I'm trying to think of something that I can share, whether it's good or bad. Because at the end of the day, what I'm starting to see on YouTube is that people just want your opinion, right? They want to know, why do you like this neighborhood? Why do you not like this neighborhood? And what are the reasons? So we're trying to get away from just the whole, I know a lot of people do this, the whole market update, here's the stats and this and this and this.
That's what I asked. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people do exactly what you said in the beginning. They just go, here's the square footage and here's the market stats and here's the, so that's a huge learning.
Yeah. And a lot of it, honestly, like I'll do some research, don't get me wrong. I do know some facts about the area and anything that's going to be helpful to the video. But if we're out and we're doing like a vlog about a community and we're walking through, one of the shopping centers, I'm pointing out stores like, oh, look, there's a Lululemon store. I love Lululemon. There's hey, look, there's a Roberto's. It's a taco shop, here in Vegas. It's one of the most popular places. I love ordering X. So it's just giving your perspective, just putting your stamp on it, right? No matter what it is. And that's how you go from 2 to 10, now 10 to 20, 25-minute videos that we're doing.
I love local marketing. It's one of the things that you, Sean, uniquely can do in your market that somebody else can uniquely do in their market, and it would be totally different because the world's different there. And instead of a Roberto's, it's an Avila's, El Ranchito, and it's the same. No, I mean, but it's under leveraged by local pros. They're sitting in their office or their homes. They're not going out. They're not making connections. So let's go to this question. It can be uncomfortable or awkward to call local businesses like you did, I'm sure. And I want you to go through that. Like, I know you knew the first guy, but it can be weird. It's weird to your point when you try to go to these builders and they say, well, I got to talk to corporate and all that stuff. So how do you handle that? How do you set appointments for this kind of stuff? How do you get over the fact that you're walking around filming and maybe that feels weird and somebody's looking like, are you a news reporter? Like, what are you doing here? How do you deal with all that? Because you're going to have that same issue and be like, what do you do?
The restaurant part, initially we would get a lot of businesses that would push back because they would say, they wouldn't tell us this, but as we're making these appointments, a lot of them would think that as we do these videos, we want a percentage off of the sales that we generate.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of them were like, no, we're not, we don't need anything. And it's like, we would still push because we're like, look, all we're trying to do is help you. I'm going to run a video and I want to promote your business. As a mortgage guy, I was like, I talk to guys every single day that are relocating here to Vegas. So yes. I want to showcase who you are, what your restaurant's about, and that's it. So once we kind of get over that hurdle and they realize like, hey, you're really just helping us, they usually never say no. I mean, I can't remember one place that has ever turned us down. That was the only one really pushback that we got. And then once I understood that, at least I knew that going into every other conversation now, like in the back of my head, like, okay, this might be the one reason why they're going to push back. So I just got to address this as fast as I can.
Yeah, Justin put the comment in there, greedy peeps out there. I never even thought for a second that the business owners would think somehow you're trying to get a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And that's why they'd be like hesitant to have you come in and do anything, because that's fascinating. That's got to be from the BS influencer lifestyle where it's like, yeah, I'll showcase your drink on my Instagram handle for $1,000 or some stupid thing.
Yep. And I think, for guys that are wanting to do this, I think, when that you're coming from the right place, I mean, people feel that. I think they know, like, look, I'm just here to help. I just want to promote your business. And you shouldn't get too much pushback. With the builders, we're just trying to find the guys that we can get in as easily as we can. Obviously, some of the nicer ones, they want corporate approval. So, we might go down that path on some of them just to kind of see, hey, can we get in or not? But if not, there's tons of communities, right? You can do an open house. You can find an agent that's doing an open house, or one of your agents maybe in their office that they've got other listings that you can comb through and find a house. So there's so many different ways that you can get into a property and showcase it.
Well, dude, I loved your comment about working co-opting up with agents on this, because in the glory days, and a lot of things have changed, but some things haven't, agents typically have communities they're extremely familiar with. They've worked in that neighborhood. They've sold 30 homes in that community, like over the years. Like they know everything about the community. Bringing them on and letting them showcase their community with you is another huge angle here.
Yep.
Let them talk about it, and you just sit there and smile.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel like you brought them into like a cool thing, and it's a gold mine, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. What's funny is when we first started this, that was kind of my thing to a lot of the agents was like, look, we're going to be launching our YouTube channel. I want to get you integrated with some of our videos. And we've had a lot of guys say no. A lot of the ideas that we had in terms of titles of what we wanted to shoot, we've had agents literally tell us like, well, I don't like that title. It's not going to work. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to still do it. And I think one of the videos that we actually got rejected on, we got probably over 10,000 views on now. So, yeah, I just think that kind of stuff's funny to me.
Was it just the branding of it that was the problem? I mean, why would a realtor say no if you're like, hey, I want to film this and get your professional, critique on it?
That specific agent said that they asked other agents in their office, and they didn't agree on the title. They said the title wasn't good enough, and I disagreed with that. So I pushed forward, and our channel is growing, and needless to say, that person doesn't have a channel. So
I never see the video.
yeah.
What other advice would you give to somebody who's hearing this and they're like, "Holy crap! I have a gold mine outside of my house that I'm not tapping into"? What advice would you give them?
Just do it. I mean, the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. Whatever story you got concocted in your head as to why you don't do it or anything. I mean, I know we've done a lot of these, and I think people just need to understand that you can create your own channel, and people are going to follow you, right? They're going to listen to what you have to say. It doesn't have to be real estate. It doesn't have to be mortgage. Even if you're brand new to the business, this is literally a gold mine because of what COVID literally caused, right? You got people relocating all over the country, and I think migration is going to be a huge factor in the next several years to come.
Yep.
So why not get ahead of the curve, right? People are spending all this money on Facebook ads and Instagram ads and all this other stuff, but guess what? I'm beating all you guys to the punch by being on YouTube. My guys are looking up, how do I move to Las Vegas, or how do I move to Phoenix, or whatever, before they even go to the Facebook ad, right? So I think
let me add something to your comment, John, because you're right. You're on YouTube, but you're also in the community.
Yeah.
Like you're physically there. Like you're walking around and there's a lake and a duck right behind you. Like you're physically there. So I want to highlight that because yes, you're leveraging the digital aspect of the power of digital, epic. But if you weren't local to Las Vegas and you were filming all this stuff and talking about Vegas, it would hit different.
Yeah.
And
I think, even with some other loan officers that might be relocating themselves, just talking about that. And one of my buddies, he's looking to get into the business. And honestly, that's what I told him. I said, document everything from your move, because when you're done, we're going to shoot content of all of those topics, because that's the thing people are thinking about. How do I, what could I have done differently if I would have moved again? All these other things, like that's the stuff that people want to know. And it's honestly, it's funny to see all these titles that are on YouTube that have hundreds of thousands of views that you would think like, who the heck would watch that stuff? But people are literally searching for that kind of information. And once you start doing that, I mean, they will then realize like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. Or you know what? The people that actually watch your channel, they like you, and I think that's the one thing that I do really enjoy about YouTube is that I realize everyone's not going to want to work with us, right? And I think as you're battling these online leads, you're trying to convert guys and get everyone to work with you.
Yep.
But on YouTube, I mean, this is me, right? Yeah, I'm in a hat and a t-shirt every video. That's my thing. And the guys that literally watch, they don't care. They're just like, hey, this guy knows a lot about the city, or he's being transparent about the process, things to look out for. And by the time they reach out to us, we already have that trust kind of built, and now it's just a matter of how do we execute and get them into whatever they're looking for.
Dude, it's so crazy. I want to reiterate what you just said. People for hours will watch people unboxing.
Yeah.
Like they will literally watch someone unbox a plunger.
Yep.
And they're a million views. And so somebody's like, well, they'll never watch so guess what they're really going to watch? A video about their hometown, a place they're moving, a restaurant that they haven't been to before by somebody who also lives there. That's the stuff they're going to watch.
Yep.
That's the stuff they're going to search for on YouTube. And you're right, Sean, like it auto selects your audience. If they don't like you and they're turned off by your style, your energy, your hat, then they won't subscribe.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden you start gaining this audience of, you're up to 12,000 people who are digging the vibe and who are now applying with you. And to me, it's one of the greatest stories of just the power of local marketing combined with some digital stuff. It's insane to me. So
it's fun. It's a big project, that we've taken on. But we're starting to finally see the rewards, at this point. But now it's like, look, I know it works. Now we're trying to, kind of 10x this thing at this point.
So let's go through the equation here. So how often are you doing a video? What's your goal? What's your goal per week for a highlight of a community?
For YouTube, it's 8 videos a month. So our pace right now, we're dropping 2 videos a week. That's kind of the minimum that we'll do.
Okay.
We're in talks of trying to do more, but obviously, we have some capacity with editing and all that stuff. So we're just trying to work through that. But at a bare minimum, we have 8 videos that we drop every month.
And you do loans, so you gotta go talk to customers and do loans.
Yep.
But don't get confused, everybody. Like what Sean's doing is marketing and prospecting for business, clearly. And we all know if you don't do that, the loans stop coming. So it's pretty crucial. So okay, so you got 2 videos a week. You put it on YouTube. And you've been doing it for how long now?
I think we're about 7 or 8 months in.
Dude, it's just not complicated. But I will say this. Okay, so I see somebody making an excuse saying you don't have video editing capabilities. So I hear that. I'm going to hear it right now just in the back of my head. So somebody's on here watching going, well, I could do it, but, I don't have anybody that can edit my videos. And, obviously Leo's amazing. What would you say to somebody who says that?
Be resourceful. There's lots of companies out there that you can hire and pay. Fork out the cash, man. It's worth it. Make an investment. If you're willing to spend $1,000 or $2,000 a month on Zillow leads or all these other online sources, you could literally, instead of spending money on those leads, spend money on someone who can edit your videos or a videographer who's can maybe do some stuff part-time for you, and then as you get better, hopefully your business grows and, try to bring somebody on that maybe can work for you full time. But the money's there. You just got to figure out where you can get it and reallocate the funds, towards, if this means something to you, put it towards the video.
Dude, I love the no nonsense response. I know that was kind of a softball. I figured you'd smack it because it's like, if you think this matters, then invest in it, then do it. Like if you see it the way you're seeing it now, and if you're understanding like, oh, there's an opportunity for me, then go invest in it. Yep. I don't know what else to say.
And commit. That's another big thing, right? You can spend the money, but you might pull the plug in 3 months. This is almost 8 months. So I think, if you're going to do it, commit for a year, right? And actually lay out a plan knowing that, hey, I'm going to commit to 1 video a week or whatever that ends up being in order to post and try to see the results. Because again, we probably didn't really start seeing results until the last maybe 60 days. So we went 6 months, nothing, crickets, no comments, barely any comments, no leads, that's for sure. And then all of a sudden it literally just started pouring out of nowhere, just subscribers, like 10 a day, 15 a day, like, it's insane.
But this is what I love about this strategy, Sean, is that it's Quicken can't do it. They're not going to have a loan officer in Vegas that goes out and highlights properties and talks about it and makes human connection. And your ability to just outplay the marketing game by doing that locally. And I still want to go back and honor this part about, the connecting to local businesses, the buying food for people. Like you're making tremendous human connection at the local level, at the physical level. And trust me, and you probably know this, but those people will never forget that. Like you're their guy after you showing up in such a big way for them.
And that was a big thing for us too, because I think during COVID, a lot of people just were posting on social media, hey, we should, you should give back, you should do this, you should do that. And honestly, I was like, people are just posting stuff, like go do it. And I get, not everyone's gonna share that, they're helping people out, and that's not why we do this. But I think a lot of it is, just get off your ass, man. Go, if you really want to help the community, then go help the community. Like you don't need someone to tell you that that's a good thing to do. Like if that's your home and that's why you love it, go out and do something. It doesn't have to be, a monetary thing like buying food. I mean, whatever it is, however you can help people, there's so many different ways. Again, just got to be resourceful and figure out what you can do that you have a passion for, so it doesn't seem like it's, a difficult task to accomplish.
Yeah, and I want to echo your comment, Sean, for everyone that's hearing this and maybe seeing it from hopefully a not this angle, but there's that meme going around of people who are taking pictures of themselves while handing food to homeless people, and it's like, hey, if you don't take a selfie while you give food or money to a homeless person, does it even happen? And I could see somebody twisting this around and viewing it similarly. And I'll tell you guys the solution for all this: if you make it about yourself, then yes, going and buying food for somebody and 50 meals and handing it to people, and if it's all about you, you're a piece of garbage. But if you go and you're highlighting, like you did, Sean, which I loved, is you went and it wasn't about you. You were showcasing the restaurant and how cool it was, and you're introducing it. You're coming from a place of introducing it to other people of like, hey, look how cool this place is. And at the same time, you're there investing money into that business in the sense of buying food, and you're giving away food. You're making impact. But it was, Sean, every time I watched that, it was never about you. And that to me is the core of this style of marketing. And when you document it, if it's about you, man, we've all seen those videos and we're all turned off.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so let me get you one final kind of takeaway question here, because you can still have tremendous effect on your local community even if you don't document it. You can go serve and support and market, and even with Sean, right? Like he got business after every time he went to a local restaurant and highlighted them. So you can get business by doing that without the digital side, without documenting. But documenting opens it up to a whole new realm, a whole new space of opportunity. And so, Sean, for those people that are really into local marketing, they're into service, they're into helping out their community, but the documenting part is overwhelming and scary and terrifying. What advice do you have for those people?
Just like I always say, man, just do it. if it feels, I always just feel like if I get to the point where I'm getting like nervous about something, I know I got to do it. I force myself to do it because I know that there's probably something good that's going to come on the other side. So the more scared that you get about something, the more nervous you get, you got to tell yourself, like, this is that moment, I need to do it. And I think that word that you use, documenting, I think that's the one thing people need to really understand. Because once you understand that concept of just documenting and storytelling, you're going to win, right? Now you get away from the fact selling, the hard points of the community or interest rates or down payment assistance, whatever it's going to be. And that's how people will connect with you. And I think the minute you can start doing that in your videos, they get longer.
Yep.
You get more views.
Yep.
You get more comments, you get more interactions, and the people that truly do watch these videos, they're watching for a reason. There's a purpose behind it. When someone watches a 25-minute video, I'm nobody, right? But if someone can literally find me on YouTube, watch dozens of our videos, and then reach out to me, like it works. And we're not selling anything. We're just literally telling stories about how we help people, how we save deals, how, down payment assistance can work, whatever it is, right? You can squeeze in some real estate, you can squeeze in some mortgage stuff in there, but at the end of the day, it's just literally, it's like we could go out right now in this shopping center behind me and just walk around, and we'd probably get people that would comment and view the damn video. So it could be about anything.
I'll let you kind of close it up with a final comment here in a second, Sean, but I want to say this because you're a great example of this. One of the things that I think is one of the most powerful indicators of the future success of any loan officer is their ability to marry both the digital and the local. So I call them digital locals, and that's just my own personal thing. But it's, you are a clear example of this. You're in the community, you're building relationships, you're with the business owners, but at the same time, you're documenting it on YouTube, you're putting yourself out there on the second largest search engine, and you're mirroring both those together. And that to me creates a clear indication that you're going to have tremendous success if you mirror that with consistency. You stay and you play, in which you've clearly proven. So is there anything you would add to somebody else who's getting inspired or feeling the energy here? What would you say? Any final comments?
I would say, just give it a shot, and just take notes of what kind of reactions are you getting.
Yeah.
The thing with YouTube, I will mention this, I didn't say this too, is that the longer your videos are, the more that YouTube tends to push the video. So that's kind of why we start to really go towards longer format videos, because they can't put an ad on a 2-minute video. They can put an ad on a 20-minute video. So the longer you can get, the more that the algorithm is going to push it out, right? And now you get more views and all that stuff. But I would just say, just start somewhere. You know, again, we can all look at where we are today, right, and the success. But I mean, Leo knows, he's been by my side since day one. You know, I mean, you can go back to all our videos where in my shirt and tie, like that's the prime example, you know, wearing a shirt and tie. And those videos that I used to do back in the day was all statistics. Like, here's the market recap. Here's the interest rates. What's going on here? 0 views. 0. No matter what the call to action was, no one reached out. No one asked, hey, can you give me can you look at my refi? None of that. But now, when all we talk about is just our experiences, storytelling, and like you said, the documenting, those things to me are the key thing, no matter what platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep.
Those are the real key drivers to getting people to raise their hand on social, you know, in my opinion.
Well, Justin had a comment, you know, digital, I need to get the professional game going. And I think your comment is so interesting, Sean. Like the word professional or expert is taking on tons of different meanings. And to your point, you know, there's a lot of people out there that might be attracted to the suit and tie guy. You might think the suit and tie guy knows what's up. Maybe that's their image in their mind of what success looks like or what a professional should look like. But I can tell you, Justin and Sean, you're the living example of this, is as long as you're true to yourself, that's what professional is. People sense that. They want humanity over sterilized, you know, commercial.
Yeah.
And Sean, you've proved that with your videos, dude. So thank you, man, for hanging out with me today. Thank you for leading the charge on what local marketing can mean, because it's so powerful. You're doing it so well. And so I really appreciate you, dude.
We're trying, man. We're trying. I gotta give a shout out to this guy over here.
Yeah, bring in. Where's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, dude?
There he is.
Is he sneaking in? Yeah, the man. I will say you this, okay? This is my pro tip as we wind down here with Leo on too. Leo, stay for a second, because this is impromptu. But you were the first loan officer I've ever seen in my career who, when we were coming to Loan Depot, and I'm like, I got a new hire request, and I was like, you know, who's this Sean guy? And, you know, he's a good producer and all that stuff. I'm like, great. And you go, yep, instead of bringing a traditional production assistant, which loan officers do all the time, and all that stuff, you're like, no, I'm hiring a videographer and like a content creator. And I was like, I mean, it blew my mind. And how long have you been at Loan Depot now?
A little over a year now.
Dude. So, and I remember, Leo, you at new hire orientation.
Yes.
And I'm like, who are you? And you're like, yeah, I'm a content creator, videographer. And I'm like, the game has changed. Well, I was sleeping. Sean was changing the world. And by the way, you guys are the dynamic duo for sure. But I mean, I just want to give a shout out to you for having that forward thinking mind. And even to you, Leo, being like, join a mortgage company. Like, what is going on here? Both you guys are really transforming the space. So congrats on being leaders in the space. Leo, do you have anything to add, dude, on this whole thing, on this whole topic? Because you're the man behind the camera.
All I have to say is that, so when I first started, the mortgage is boring. Mortgage is boring. Real estate, right, is boring. And I think, and I really think that, you know, there's this, I don't know, it's like this challenge. Like for me personally, I love the challenge of like being able to come in here and like, okay, like we gotta change it up, right? Like we gotta do something about this, because I feel like even as a consumer or a person outside the industry that, you know, I'm not really familiar with, I feel like I tune people out about real estate, right? Like I tune them out quickly because I'm like, okay, they're talking about rates and interest. Like I have no idea what this is. But if you can get my attention about like, you know, about the community, right? Or like who you personally are, you got me hooked, right? So now I like you now. So I feel like the mortgage part of it is a byproduct, or it's an afterthought. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I feel like it's an afterthought as to what you are and who you are. Yeah. So everything that you do, whatever is connected to what you do, it should be followed by the things that you love enjoying, right? Like I know I'm not sure if Nick, I think his name is Nick Acosta, right? I remember, I think he does like the bike stuff,
dirt bikes.
I remember like when we first talked to him, like it was probably almost a year ago. He wasn't sure about like what to post, and they were like, "Oh, dude, like you do like do you do the bike stuff? You should post all that stuff." And it's funny because now I watch him post about the bike, so that's pretty cool. Like I remember Nick Acosta not because he's a mortgage lender. I know he is, but I know that he does. He rides bikes, right? So if I was to ride bikes, I definitely connect with that guy, So I think that everybody should find like that one thing. And I know like one thing, and I'm just gonna add one more thing. I know a lot of people are gonna say, hey Leo, I don't have a hobby. That's easy for for a videographer or whatever. It might not be a hobby. It might be like you are super organized, right? Like you might give tips about like, hey, how to organize your day, right? Or like what kind of calendars or what kind of organizers should you use, right? Like to better your day, or like how to be productive. So it's not necessarily like something that has to do with like an actual skill or like some kind of a hobby or whatever, but it can be like other things. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Dude, bonus segment with Leo, dude. I'm cutting this out and we're gonna make a whole bonus segment. I appreciate you guys. For everyone that hung out with us today, thank you for being part of the Modeling Podcast, and we'll see y'all on the internet. Take care.